proud to have Mr. Gaurav Upadhyay, Energy Finance Specialist, India Sustainable Finance for South Asia at IEEFA. He has over 12 years of experience implementing large-scale developmental initiatives in diverse sectors, including climate finance, transition, and renewable energy. Before joining IEEFA, he worked as a climate and energy consultant at the World Bank, where he played a pivotal role in orchestrating the implementation of multisectoral lending and technical assistance projects. He has also worked with prestigious international organizations such as UNICEF, HP, and GVK-EMRI. He received the Prime Minister Rural Development Fellowships from the Ministry of Rural Development in 2014, which gave him a chance to work closely with the central and state governments for over 2 years. Mr. Upadhyay will present a talk on policy framework and structural issues.
So just to present some structural issues, just to dwell into the topic. India is at a very crucial juncture. It has basically positioned itself to not only increase its RE portfolio manifold in coming years, but it can also become a global RE powerhouse. Having said that, we also need to acknowledge that in overall investment in RE sector, there are some impediments. To provide you some figures, in 2022, the investment in RE sector was around 15 billion or so, 15 billion USD also. It has reduced to 13 billion in 2023, and which is also significantly less than the 25 billion which was expected by the government. So we need to acknowledge that there are some structural issues in RE sector which is impacting the overall investment landscape of RE in India. So just to provide a little bit brief on the structural issues, we'll talk about around 4 structural issues which are very important from the investment perspective. So first and foremost, it is the underdeveloped domestic corporate bond market. So in India, the bond market is quite underdevelopment, which is very important because it provides a long-term cost-effective funds to corporates. Just to compare it, India has around 18, the market size of bond market size in India is around 18% of its GDP. Just to compare it with some of the other economies, US has the bond market size of around 120%, South Korea at 80%, and even if we compare it with China, it's around 36%, just the double of India. This is mainly because the investor base in our bond market is very limited. The cost of borrowing is still comparably a little bit high, and we have also limited liquidity. And moreover, the capital available for the power sector is mostly absorbed by the power sector PSUs. So there are little left for the private sector companies. So this need to be increased manifold. There are several measures which can be taken up to develop this market. Primarily, it has to come up from the domestic institutional investors, mainly insurance companies and private funds, to change their regulation little bit. Like for first step, they need to relook at the threshold of investment in state and central level securities to accommodate a higher percentage of corporate bonds. So the capital should be available to the private corporate more than the central and state government. Secondly, the regulators also need to decouple the renewable energy from the wider power sector, so that the cleaner energy sources should have the dedicated fund available to increase the clean infrastructure. So this is the first structural issue. The second is the fiscal situation of DISCOM. So DISCOMs are one of the most important player in energy ecosystem. And as we are trying to integrate or trying to increase the RE contribution in our network, it will require a lot of capital to strengthen its transmission distribution network. But presently, if we see the fiscal situation of discoms are not up to the mark, and they are struggling with a lot of debt, as well as their situation, fiscal situation is very precarious. This is one of the major bottleneck if we want to absorb the additional capacity we want to increase. So that's basically because of two major reasons. One is the higher distribution and commercial loss. But secondly, and the most importantly, because of the subsidies, the cross subsidies, which is like subsidies which is provided to different set of consumers, including the agriculture consumers. If we see the in the power sector in peninsular India, uh, the agriculture power is either free or very subsidized, and this is putting a lot of pressure on the resources, not even on the electricity. It is also leading to wastage of water, over extraction of water sources. So there need to be some uh, interventions to basically reduce the fiscal burden on the discom. So one notable change which has happened is like introduction of PM Kusum component C, which can actually not only conserve the electricity and water, but also provide kind of extra income to farmers. But this scheme, because of some of the issues, could not be a success on the field. So there need to be more focus on these kind of schemes. They need to be also focused to increase the participation of private sector in the discoms, so that the fiscal situation of discoms can be improved, and the much needed investment in the distribution network can be brought in. Third is a very important issue of land availability. As you know, that land is a very finite and important resource, and a country of 1.4 billion need land for agriculture. We also need to increase our forest cover uh, to 33%. Then there are many competing development needs, like housing, which need land resources, and RE requires much much more land than the thermal power generation. So that can lead to a lot of conflict in near future. And even today, if we see, there are many projects which are stuck because of lack of land availability. So there are some measures which has happened to improve these situations. Like some of the government has identified a land pool which has less ecological footprint, which can be used for RE deployment. But we need to also focus on DRE, which is basically very important when we consider from the land availability and land utilization point of view. Solar rooftop is very important scheme of Government of India, which has not taken up very widely till now. But recent regulatory changes in RPO, participation of PSUs, and I think we have also heard the recent announcement from PM to basically provide the solar rooftop for 1 crore households. So I think these can energize the sector again. But overall, the investment in DRE would be very important, along with the identification of the land which can be used for RE, uh, would be very important for that. And the fourth one is not very directly related, but I think it would be good to just mention it. The issue of whole just transition. While we are transitioning from fossil fuel based economy to our economy, it will be good for the whole nation economically, environmentally. But there are some communities which are totally dependent on the fossil fuel and the coal economy. These communities will be impacted much. And not even the communities, if you take from the state point of view, states like Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh are very much dependent on the revenues generated by these fossil fuels. Like if you just compare it, around 30% of Jharkhand's and 21% of Chhattisgarh's own revenue is coming from the fossil fuel. So it will be very important to work with these states, these districts and communities to diversify their economy so that the impact of the transition can be lessened on that. And it is encouraging to see that both Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh started to work in this paradigm. And Jharkhand even constituted a task force, which is right now forming policies for just transition. That will be important for Jharkhand to, go forward in this direction as well. So just to again emphasize, we need to work on these four structural problems to speed up the investment and adoption of RE at a rapid pace. Thank you.